Wow, that's a radio smash. Someone show this to Ed, see if he cares.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of The 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast where a Gen X father introduces his Gen Z son to Radiohead music, one song at a time, as he reacts for the first time, and I react as an adoring fan for the 100th, millionth time.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. It's been a little while since we've uploaded a video. I had to leave town for something unexpectedly, so that's why there's been a little bit of a break. But we'll get right back on them. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, as you've been so kind and enjoyed all our videos so far. If you haven't had a chance to see our other videos, check them out right now. Go watch Creep. No one watched Creep. Go back, watch Weird Fishes, High and Dry. They were all good. We said we were going to address background. We haven't had a chance to do that. The thing that took me out of town was unexpected, and I just didn't get around to doing that. So we do promise we'll have a prettier background and prettier faces.
Another thing is we've been requesting for modern day music reactions, even though none of you guys have really said any of that. We are looking for suggestions though. So if you guys want to tell us in the comments what songs we should listen to or what we should do, just let us know.
We've got a lot of Radiohead suggestions. We're lining those up, but we haven't had any modern music suggestions, right? And we'll do anything. We just don't have anywhere to start. I mean, I guess we can start with your stuff. You can start me off on Imagine Dragons.
That's true.
But we don't want to just do Radiohead and Imagine Dragons. Let's do everything we can. It'll be good.
Just mostly Radiohead, some Imagine Dragons here and there, and then every once in a while we can do modern day music suggestions.
Yeah, obviously we know that there'd be more eyes on the channel in general if people just said, just gave out random modern music suggestions, and we could do those, and people would find Radiohead via those reactions, and then we'd introduce so many more people to Radiohead.
Yep.
Which is really the goal. Today's reaction is Idioteque, or Idioteque, or Idioteque, depending on how you pronounce it. Idioteque is the general pronunciation, from 2000's Kid A. Beautiful, gorgeous album. A complete change of direction for Radiohead. After laboring with rock and the burden of playing live rock music for 6 years, 7 years, longer, Radiohead decided, after a massive writer's block for Tom York, he didn't know what direction he wanted to go. Some members of the band were saying, let's keep this rock thing going, that's where we are, and Tom York said, nope, can't do it, we're going to do this. And Kid A is what came out, and it surprised us all. So what do you know about Idioteque?
Absolutely nothing.
I chose Idioteque for today because I swore that somebody suggested Idioteque, and I was going to give that person a shout out, and then I went through and I'm like, nope, I don't think anyone suggested Idioteque. If you're suggesting Radiohead songs, we are taking note, I'm keeping score, and I do want to start getting to the songs that you guys recommend, just so you know you're being heard, and we enjoy your comments, and we appreciate everything you're saying. I will say that Kid A does have a much more electronica feel. They're definitely going into computers, they're going into synthesizers, which is what this song's all about. I will admit that Kid A is the beginning of listening to Radiohead, and the first listen, you'll definitely like it. You'll definitely like the lyrics. You'll definitely like the patterns and the rhythm and the beat, but it does grow on you with the more listens. I know people people have said, well, if you don't like it the first time, it's not great music. Not necessarily. You can think of a lot of music that you didn't appreciate in its fullest. I loved The Wall the first time I heard Pink Floyd's The Wall. But as I listened to it more, it had so many more layers and so many more callbacks, and you became more familiar with the entire work as a piece. And that was inspiring. And Kid A is that way. The first time I heard Kid A, I was like, well, that's fun. And the more times I listen to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, what they're doing there is awesome. And so you're going to get a piece of that with Idioteque today. Should we Idioteque it up?
Sure. This intro obviously has that funky electronic thing to it. There's this game I play. It's a rhythm game almost, and it's basically you have to control your platformer guy into this when like just dodge obstacles and stuff. This song just reminds me of one of the songs from that game, and I like that song, so I don't know. It has a good start to it.
Is that game called Cubert? And dodging obstacles.
There's more to it,
yeah,
but
sure.
there is. It's a rhythm game and all that jazz, but that just reminds me of that song, and I like that song.
Cool. Yeah.
So I think I gave Let Down a bad rap when I said I have no idea what he's saying. I've noticed for most of Radiohead songs I've had to look at the lyrics to know what he's saying, and I guess that's just their type of style of music.
Part of it is Tom York's voice. He definitely is, and you've said that you don't love this, but he's definitely trying to make his voice another instrument. And here he's just doing a lot of repeating of the same lines over and over again.
The beat and the rhythm of the song definitely changed in verse 2. And I feel like if this song was sung by someone who doesn't do the voice trying to sound like an instrument, I feel like this would be a really good song. And I'm not saying like it's a bad song because of that voice. I'm just saying if someone else did it, it would definitely be a favorite.
If you became more familiar with the song and knew what he was saying, and you didn't have to think about the lyrics all that much, because his voice, his tone is beautiful. So would you think you'd be more interested there?
Yeah.
I want your reaction completely, but I have to point out a couple things while you're hearing it now so you can appreciate what's happening. The chord progression, that 4-chord progression you keep hearing that sounds metallic, it's been from the very beginning. That chord progression is extremely unique, and it's actually borrowed. They give writing credits to the composer who put those chords together in a computer song from the 70s that Johnny discovered when he was looking around. I think he was on tour in the States and just found this album in a record shop. And it just stuck in his mind. It's a very unique. You can read for hours about the Tristan chord and why that chord is so interesting and why that progression is so interesting. But you'll want to die afterwards because it's extremely boring. But it's fascinating that it sticks out in your mind so much, and then you can't unhear it. That 4-chord progression is great.
I like that beat. I like the drums right there. I think that's a nice beat.
So I'm gonna blow your mind here a little bit. Those aren't drums.
Whoa.
This whole thing is a synthesizer. When they play live, Phil Selway does do a little beat in the background, and Ed O'Brien, who normally plays rhythm guitar, he's just doing the shaker kind of rapid fire. This is such a fun song to watch live because really the only person on an instrument making all this noise is Johnny, and he is on a synthesizer. He's down in front of a bunch of wires and holes and dials, and he's just moving those wires around and adjusting those dials to make those beats, to make the chord that I talked about before. Everything you're hearing is a modular synthesizer. Johnny came up with this entire thing and gave it to Tom and said, what do you think of this? And Tom said, it was a lot of noise and it went on for a long time, but I found a little section in the middle that was really good, and that's the section we used. The live versions are so funny because Johnny's frantically moving these things around and adjusting dials. Tom is just at a microphone the whole time. He doesn't have an instrument. And he's just whipping his head all over the place. And he wants this live performance always to be so high energy. Watch a live performance. We'll put one in the descriptions here. A live performance of Idioteque, and Tom just wants the energy to go through. And you can see so many live performances, he just yells to Johnny, go faster, 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 Johnny. Because he wants the energy up. There's even a classic recording of him, a video of him kind of walking off stage in frustration just because it doesn't have the energy he wants it to have. Meanwhile, poor Johnny's over there trying to make this thing work on the synthesizer. The one instrument I can't describe to you at all about how it works is a synthesizer. When we think of synthesizers, we think of an 80s instrument where you use all that modular stuff, but you also use a little keyboard to make some things happen. And they do that sometimes too, but in Idioteque, he's just moving those wires around, and it's pretty wild. And Tom York's going crazy. It's such a high energy experience.
I really like that funky beat at the end. I like that type of funkiness to the song. Like I like those funky songs.
Yeah, I think Radiohead enjoys branching out. We talked about it. So many other musicians are great in their lane, and Radiohead likes expanding that lane. And this is electronica, techno, even techno funk. You said the word funky.
Yep.
And so much more on Kid A has and in Rainbows and Amnesiac have a lot of jazz influence. This is more funk, almost hip hop sometimes, but electronica, techno. That was a big deal. Radiohead had toured a little bit with The Prodigy, who were a industrial techno band out of Britain in the late 90s. And that some of that has had to, he's watching these guys and he's like, I can do that, and I can do it better. Score.
7.
So you'd put it on a playlist and you wouldn't skip it all the time.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
I just gotta be in that certain mood.
You would have to be in a mood. And you'd have to have it might be a good doing the dishes song, but not a good, I want to sing along or something necessarily. But you get in a car and you start moving, you might be dangerous behind the wheel. So it might not be something in a car. It's good in a car too. It really is. Most people believe that the song is pretty much about some type of apocalyptic situation. Who's in a bunker? Women and children first. Tom York has a lot on his mind when it comes to end of the world type situations, particularly surrounding climate change and things like that. But this song was basically created by Tom York putting a bunch of phrases, maybe with a similar theme, into a hat and then drawing them out of a hat and basically piecing it together, where the music and the beat and the whole composition was more important than the message of the lyrics. Although the lyrics are cool once you know what they are. Like a lot of Kid A, Radiohead had to figure out how to tour with these songs. It was easy when you're like, hey, we got a drum, we got a bass, we got guitars. They had to figure out, how are we going to reproduce Idioteque live? Besides doing the shaker, Ed O'Brien is doing the harmonization, which is a tough harmonizing with Tom York in this song is tough. And you'll hear in the live versions, it's maybe Ed's weakest harmonizing that he does, but it's still great. It just, you can tell it's what he struggles with it. Ed, if you're listening, I apologize. You're wonderful in everything you do, but you really struggle with your harmonies on this song. I wouldn't have tried it myself. You got more guts than I do. Let's look at artwork. My son, he nailed this. So you're looking at, of course, there's always got to be a sun in the top right corner there, and it says it's morning. And that's a cloud that is coming out of the cloud is a computer, a purple computer. And the guy is very clearly looking up at that cloud that is raining a computer down upon him. I thought he nailed that. Like, the computer is like the technology raining down upon this guy. The end of his beautiful morning. It's got a very apocalyptic end of the world message. He gets Radiohead. And then my daughter, her picture is of. It says technical difficulties. She thought the beat reminded her of a station having technical difficulties, and it says glitchy. And that's an angry or frustrated person at their computer. I did want to point out, because I think it's important to note, that my daughter does these drawings very fast. She was sad that her drawings don't look that great, but she also does them pretty quickly. If she takes her time, she just thought, I don't like people seeing these scribbled drawings. And I said, it's okay. But she definitely doesn't feel like she does her best artwork for us, but I don't care. It's a lot of fun. Really, truly, thank you so much for your likes. Thank you for your views. Thank you for sharing it with everybody you know. Please give us some suggestions of some modern music, some Gen Z music that you think I might respond to, or that you think we might both respond to. Continue to love one another. Keep listening to music together. As always, this has been
The 15th Floor.